Hello, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanities Team and the Evolution Revolution. And we are now reading New Revelations by Neil Donald Walsh. And I'm going to let Linda take it from here because my book still has not arrived. So, Linda, take it away. Linda? Hello?
Okay, I thought I had unmuted it, but I hadn't yet.
Okay.
I have a whining dog I'm trying to corral into my... Okay, so he just got on the couch. So now maybe he'll shut up. Because I don't want us having him in the background making his little pissy sounds.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Oh, no, hang on. One more second. Here we go. Okay. So we are on page 24. It is the beginning of chapter 4 in the New Revelations, A Conversation with God. And this is Neil speaking. Okay, so humanity's beliefs about God and life are incomplete. And it is these incomplete understandings that we have been passing on to our children from generation to generation, creating the political, economic, social, and spiritual crisis the world is facing today? Correct. And if we could just change these beliefs, we can change all of this? Yes. We can end the killing and the suffering. Yes, you can. We can end the poverty and the desperation. You can. We can put a stop to oppression and aggression and repression. Indeed, you can. That sounds so hopeful. It makes me feel as if we've got a chance. Oh, you have more than a chance, my son. You and all the children of God have a happy destiny to fulfill. And using the power and the wonder and the glory of all the gifts I have given you, you will fulfill it. Only if you do not use that power, only if you set aside the wonder of who you are and throw away my gifts, can you not fulfill it. It's going to be very difficult for you to do that. I have made it very hard for you not to reach your goal. For my gifts to you are so extraordinary as to render that virtually impossible. Just look at what you've done so far. Against all odds, you've brought yourselves into being, moved your species into consciousness. Against all odds, you acquired sufficient understanding of the world around you to produce truly extraordinary physical achievements. Against all odds, you grew in self-awareness to the point where you recognized that there was something greater than the limited experience of you developing arts and culture, science, philosophy, and spirituality to express your expanded view of existence. When you look around your universe, which you will soon have the technology to do much more effectively, you will see that these are not small accomplishments. All of the life forms in existence, only a tiny minority has done it. And look at your personal lives. Many of you have grown to become dynamic, productive, loving, caring, compassionate beings, deeply concerned with the feelings of others, deeply committed to the betterment of all, and deeply determined to courageously explore the edges of your knowledge, that you might create an even brighter tomorrow. Do you see the magnificence of that? This is who you are. And it's only the beginning. Is this true? Do you mean this? I tell you, you are capable of achievements and experiences beyond your wildest dreams. You are standing, even now, at the edge of a golden age, the beginning of 1,000 years of peace, which could lead to a grander glory for the human species than your heart can now hold the knowing of. This can be your gift to the future. This can be your destiny, but you need to choose it. You're talking about changing our entire experience of life on this planet. With all of our accomplishments, with all of our understandings, we have not been able to achieve peace. When you talk about 1,000 years of it, you're talking about changing our entire way of life. That is what we're talking about, yes. That is what you asked me to help you with, is it not? Well, it is. But I don't get that there is a panacea, a magic pill that can do all that it takes to have that. There is. Our beliefs, your beliefs, specifically our beliefs about God and life. What about people who don't believe in God? It doesn't matter whether people believe in God or not. All people have beliefs about life. And what you will find is that people's collective beliefs, about life pretty much reflect humanity's collective beliefs about God. This is understandable, even that I am now going to tell you, which is something that most people do not accept. What's that? God and life are the same thing. You may call them by two different names, but they are the same thing. God is what life is, and life is what God is. God is the energy that you call life, and life is the energy that you call God. It's all the same thing. Life is God physicalized. So if we believe in life, we believe in God. Is that what you're saying? Yes. You cannot separate God from life, and you cannot separate life from God. You can say you believe in life, but not in God. But that is like saying you believe in the brain, but not the mind. You can see and touch the brain, so you know it's there. You cannot see or touch the mind, so you're not sure what that is, or whether it's there or not. The brain is the mind physicalized. Yet it is your mind that allows you to even contemplate your brain. Without your mind, you would not even know that the brain exists. It is exactly the same way with God and life. So we don't have to believe in God in order to change the world? Not at all. But those people who do believe in God have a head start. Not necessarily. What? I said not necessarily. You mean a belief in God is not a benefit here? It's not an advantage? It could actually be a disadvantage. How can you say that a belief in God can be a disadvantage in changing the world? Well, everything depends on whether you believe in God. Everything depends not on whether you believe in God, but on what you believe about God. I've already told you that you don't have to believe in God at all in order to use beliefs to change the world. All you have to believe in is life. And you do believe in life because you are experiencing it. Yet if you are one of those who does believe in God, what you believe about God can have an extraordinary impact on what you believe about life, as well as how you live your life and how you experience it. So your belief about God becomes crucial. Okay, and to repeat, the world in the place it finds itself in today, a place of crisis, of violence, of killing and war, because of what we currently believe about God, that is true. Okay, then let's start there. What are the beliefs that we have about God that create crisis, violence, killing, and war? Well, first, you believe that God needs something. Second, you believe that God can fail to get what he needs. Third, you believe that God has separated you from him because you have not given him what he needs. Fourth, you believe that God still needs what he needs so badly that God now requires you from your separated position to give it to him. Fifth, you believe that God will destroy you if you do not meet his requirements. These 5 fallacies about God have brought more pain and destruction to your day-to-day existence than all of your other beliefs combined. Well, okay, we could discuss those beliefs in detail, I suppose. It could benefit you to do so. And I would like to do that later. But right now, I don't see how these beliefs about God create crisis, violence, killing, and war between people. That's easy. You think it is appropriate to act with each other in the same way that you believe God acts with you. You also think that when you create crisis, violence, killing, and war, you are doing so in order to meet God's requirements. You think that you are helping God meet his needs. Many of you believe that God wants crisis, violence, killing, and war, if that is what it takes for you to fulfill his requirements. In this context, you believe wanton killing to be God's will. Human beings believe that? I don't know of any human beings who believe that. Well, you may not know them personally, but I can assure you they exist and have existed on your planet for a very long time. From the very earliest days, you have described the worst human experiences and disasters, even man-made acts of terror, as the will of God. In fact, your effort to understand the bad things that happened to you is how you came to believe in the existence of God in the first place, and to believe in a God who does bad things. Please explain that. In your most primitive times, what you would call the Caveman Era and before, humans did not comprehend the simplest aspects of life around them. All they knew was that there was life around them. That is, there was something other than them. This other thing that existed demonstrated itself all around them. It showed up as wind and rain, sun and moon, clouds and plants, and trees, and tiny living things that you now call insects, and large living things that you now call animals, and as spectacular effects as fires that started spontaneously in the forest, thunder and lightning from the sky, huge waves on the ocean, and sometimes a frightening shaking of the ground itself. Now, Homo sapiens did not know what to make of all these things. They did not know why people died, why hurricanes or tornadoes or droughts came along and destroyed everything, or why anything happened at all. In order to make some sense of these things, early humans concluded that there must be some power greater than theirs that made these things occur. They imagined spirits that caused good and evil to manifest itself in their lives in many ways. As they watched day turn into night and night into day, grass grow and flowers bloom, and trees lose their leaves and get them back again, they began to defy nature. They imagined rain gods and the sun god and many other gods that did things according to mood and whim. What had to be done, they reasoned, was to somehow affect this mood and to please the gods, and then the gods would do as they asked. All manners of rites and rituals were created to call forth the spirit of whatever gods might be needed or desired at the moment, to placate them and to honor them, and to get them to do what humans earnestly requested. There were rites of fertility and rites of passage, and rituals of every kind and intention. These developed through the centuries into what some of you now call pagan customs. Myths grew up around how sacred powers directly influenced life on Earth, and about how life on Earth can directly influence sacred powers. These myths became oft-told stories which turned into beliefs. That is, they became true for people. When myths turned into truth, it becomes organized religion. From so-called pagan religions to the mainstream religions of your time was not a very big leap. Most humans today continue to believe in a power greater than themselves. Most humans continue to believe that there is something they must do to placate the source of that power. Today on your planet, there are thousands of religions, some honoring a plurality of gods and some worshiping a single god. Yes, but there's only one true religion. Here we go again. This is the answer to your question. This is how beliefs about God create crisis, violence, killing, and war between people. But it's true. There's only one religion that has it right. The rest of them may mean well, but they just don't have it right. And we have to be careful not to be lured into false beliefs that may sound good but have nothing to do with God's law. Because if we deny the one true God and God's law, we will not be saved, but go straight to hell. When? When? Yes, when will this happen? When you die, of course. And if true believers feel that you deserve to go to hell because you do not believe in the one true God nor follow God's law, they are allowed to send you there immediately by killing you. Indeed, in some cases, they are obliged to. When leaders of a religion issue a mandate, all true believers are required to follow it and kill whomever the leaders tell them to kill. Who told you that? You did. I did? Yes. You said that we can destroy any person, government, or nation whose actions amount to apostasy. And that's what we use as our authority, your word. You use my word as your authority in these matters. Yes, of course. Knowing that we are doing God's will is what guides us, directs us, gives us courage, and provides us comfort when we slaughter people. Hang on a second, I need to cough. But I would never will that. What do you mean? You did do it. I did. What, did you not part the Red Sea to let your people escape? And did you not then close the sea, burying under tons of water some 600 of those who followed? Did you not destroy nearly every person living in Sodom and Gomorrah? And have you not killed many others, or required or approved of the killing of others throughout the ages? From these and other recountings of the instructions and demands of deity found in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Book of Mormon, and in other scriptures, every school child of every culture knows about the wrath of God. Yes. That's the problem. Why is teaching our children the truth a problem? Because it's not the truth. There is no such thing as the wrath of God. It is one of your false beliefs about God. But I am clear that you think it is true, and that you think it is appropriate to act with each other in the same way that you believe God acts with you. Your religious leaders have actually done this. They've called upon all true believers to kill the apostates. Well, sometimes we say kill the infidels, but it means the same thing, infidel, apostate. It doesn't matter. They're just words. The point is, if others don't believe what we believe, God says we get to kill them. Christians have done it. Muslims have done it. Many groups of believers have done it. You know the history of some of this? Oh, yes. Pope Urban II issued a call to a crusade at Clermont, France in 1095 that resulted in a series of military expeditions organized by Western Christians against Muslims and other infidels. These crusades went on for 200 years, resulting in the death of hundreds of thousands. Muslim leaders likewise have sponsored through centuries aggression after aggression, assassination after assassination, slaughter after slaughter, in the name of eradicating apostasy. And these behaviors have not been limited to medieval times. In 1989, Ayatollah Khomeini, then the spiritual leader of revolutionary Iran, publicly condemned a book called The Satanic Verses and issued a fatwa against its author, Salman Rushdie. It was said that Muslims around the world had a duty to execute Rushdie on sight, and that any Muslim doing so would go straight to heaven. The man had to go into hiding for 10 years until the Iranian government finally revoked the fatwa. Most recently, in the 1990s, radical Muslims, many of whom living in Afghanistan, declared war on Western civilization, telling Muslims throughout the world that it was their duty to bring death to America and death to Israel, among other specified enemies. In other words, your history is repeating itself over and over again, and we can't seem to find a way to stop it. Now we're dealing with horrible terrorist acts and killing of many innocent people. Meanwhile, the Encyclopedia Britannica in 2001, in an article on the 200 years of Christian attacks, contained an ironic comment describing those crusades. It said that such random acts of terrorism, quote, with their combination of idealism, ambition, heroism, cruelty, and folly, are a medieval phenomenon, and as such, outside modern man's experience, close quote. I expect that line will have to be rewritten for the next edition. End of chapter. Keep going, or?
Sorry, couldn't get it off mute. It depends on what everybody else would like to do, because I'm having a hard time following because I don't have my book.
I find this extremely helpful and hopeful, this chapter, because it actually gives us agency as human beings. And as a Muslim dealing with fundamental Christians, I've always found that the people I liked the most were atheists. Because they believed in life. They didn't believe in one punishing God who excluded other people. And this last little bit about the Crusades is very, very interesting because the Muslims and the Christians were fighting each other but learning from each other, and darned if they were going to admit it. So for me anyway, this is the most hopeful and interesting book we've read so far. Over.
Well, I agree in general terms, since I'm not used to being read to without the book in my hand. And I was looking for copy online while Linda was reading so that I might be able to read off an illegal copy. And what I started reading was people's comments about this book. And they said it was one of the best conversation books there is. So I don't think you're alone on that, Shabana. Over.
I'm happy to hear that because I come from deepest, darkest Canada. And being in the east of the country was beyond horrible. Now I'm in the west. But the fundamentalism of every religion, including the Hindus who are the most enlightened, is all based on legends which have been turned into scripture. And the real fellow, or the real it, like God, is left out of the picture, like we've decided, just to anthropomorphize our own self-hatred and project it onto someone else to justify it. Really quite tragic. And there's hope now. Over.
I agree about it being hopeful. I just was sitting there feeling like, how do we get this message into the hands of enough people? And then, you know, the fundamentalist problem is just, it's fundamentalists of any religion that, you know, you can't find the little chink to get the message through. So it's like, that was what I was pondering at the end of that chapter. Like, it's a beautiful message, and I do believe that it can change the world and does provide hope. And I was just trying to imagine how to get it into enough people's hands, basically. Over.
Mary, would you like Mrs. Know-it-all to tell you the answer?
Lindapedia.
No, that's me, Shabanapedia.
Okay, Shabanapedia.
Yeah, I've taken over Linda's warm spot. If it's all right with you, Linda. Where is she? I guess she's gone. Okay. Are you there, Linda? I can't hear her. Anyway, here's what I need to preface this. Mary, you just said that everyone's wearing armor and we're looking for a chink in it, right? Is that what you said?
I didn't mention the armor, but I mentioned the chink, so that's good enough.
Okay, so the armor was my idea, and I'll tell you why. My landlord in this house I'm living in is a collector, and we've got armor here in this house. I can't carry the computer down, but trust me, we've got armor, a whole, you know, just like in the museums. And to try to get anything through the armor is impossible unless, you know, I mean, there's no chinks anywhere. And I've been to the museums and looked at armor, and it just isn't possible. So Mary, for me to come up with armor is just essentially my own experience with the fundamentalists in Eastern Canada, is that Jesus is it, one way, and there's no other. And so everyone's, headed straight to hell, bar none. I mean, there's only Christians going to heaven, everyone else is eating worms. So the story that I find really interesting in response to your question, now that I'm done with explaining why I'm thinking about armor, is that we are one. There's no one else here. We're all one. We've got different personalities in different homes, and different countries, but when one person changes, when one idea changes, when one person's idea changes, the whole is affected. That this has been shown by Greg Braden and so many others with empirical evidence that we are reading this book now, whether or not Nanette has a copy of it. The idea is that if we change our beliefs about God, everything will change. And that was what Linda read last time too. So, Mary, because we're reading this book today, here, now, the words that we are, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions that we're believing are spreading immediately. As we change, everyone changes, if that makes sense. That there's no chinks, there's no armor, we're just one. If that makes any sense. Over.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
I'm really excited about that because, looking at medieval armor and the Oxford Dictionary or whatever it was that we just read, it's a fact. I mean, I've never met anything but fundamentalists round and round and round. Didn't matter what religion it was. And it's all craziness.
I would say that the way we get the message across is with our children. That's how this is going to change. And Marianne Williamson has been talking a lot. She's on her political arena, saying investing it, that she will invest in children. This is how we're going to change the problems of the world today. And I have a 3-year-old granddaughter who I feel very privileged to be her grandmother and to be able to get these messages across to her. And that's our answer. I think we need to invest in our children, and we will do it. We will get there if we choose to. Over.
I truly believe you, Angela, because your grandchildren are attracted to you because of the aura you're transmitting. And they say that the new generation, not just the millennials, but the newer ones, are already programmed to heal the world. Does that make sense?
It does indeed. It absolutely makes sense.
And I absolutely believe it. I don't sort of kind of. I think that this book is ancient. It's not exactly a new one. But for us to be reading it now and to meditate on the message here and now is truly exciting, because one mystic that I follow says that prayers or meditation, which is powerful, can actually be seen as a powerful light as he scans the globe, that there are lighthouses or beacons because of people who are transmitting the kind of ideas that this book has been expressing for about 20 years. Over.
Yes, indeed. I think the lights are coming together throughout the world. But I just want to say about Marianne Williamson again, because she needs 65,000 signatures, I think. So I would urge you people in the US to support her. I could just put that out there.
I didn't know that. That's very exciting.
Absolutely, it's exciting. And I mean, even if she doesn't get in as president, there's no reason why she shouldn't. But even if she doesn't get in, you know, the message is getting out there now. She's out there proclaiming it, and you know, it's happening.
And I've been excited that the media is actually covering her. Some still aren't, but a lot of it is, so it's good.
All I've ever heard is the most horrible things about her, and that is the reason. I mean, it's because she's a woman, and the time has come for women to take over. And that's the last little bit of male privilege. And I was too stupid to know better. But now I'm not. I hope. Over. Nanette, are you there?
I am here. I just today I keep getting stuck on mute. So, Linda, are you still with us?
Uh-huh.
Well, should we go ahead?
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Shall we go ahead and keep reading for another 10 minutes?
Okay.
I'm just curious to know if Bima's actually around, because she hasn't said a word. Are you there, Bima? Guess not.
She might be stuck on mute too.
Yep, Mutesville. Anyway, do you want to read for the next 10 minutes and then we can let Shabana do the closing invitation? Okay, take it away.
Okay, this is chapter 5. So the 5 fallacies about God create crisis, violence, killing, and war. Yes, that is observable. You also said that there were beliefs about life that were leading us astray. Yes. What are those? The 5 fallacies about life that create crisis, violence, killing, and war are: 1, human beings are separate from each other. 2, there is not enough of what human beings need to be happy. 3, to get the stuff of which there is not enough, humans must compete with each other. 4, some human beings are better than other human beings. And 5, it is inappropriate for human beings to resolve severe differences created by all the other fallacies by killing each other. No, it is appropriate for human beings to resolve severe differences created by all other by killing. These 5 fallacies about life, combined with the 5 fallacies about God, make for a deadly litany of error that has created and continues to create to this very moment a world of deep anger, brutal violence, terrible loss, unrelenting sorrow, and unremitting terror. You think you're being terrorized by other people, but in truth, you are being terrorized by your beliefs. These are what you must change if you are ever to realize your dream of living in a world in peace, harmony, and happiness. I say again and again and again, you cannot change the conditions of anger, violence, loss, sorrow, and terror by economic or political means. You can affect these conditions, that is, you can alter them somewhat for a short period of time, or you can interrupt them, but you cannot eliminate them without a change in your beliefs. Because belief creates behaviors. That is correct. Well, as I said earlier, I want to discuss these false beliefs, all of them, later. Good, because that is the point of this dialogue. But first, early in the conversation, in the early part of this conversation, you said that there were 5 things we can do now if changing our world and the self-destructive direction in which it is moving is what we wish to achieve. You called these the 5 steps to peace. Yet none of them sounded much like an action plan to me. They seemed more likely philosophical meanderings. Forgive me, I don't mean that pejoratively. I just wonder if this is the kind of information that will help people and that will serve the world right now. The purpose of this dialogue is to awaken people and to heal the world. That will both help and serve. Now, what I said was that there are 5 things you can choose. I said nothing about 5 things you can do. I am making the repeated point here that peace on your planet will only be achieved when you change beliefs, because unless you get this point, you will be able to achieve nothing in the way of healing your planet. What you seek to heal are the wounds created by your beliefs. Your deepest beliefs have created the behaviors that have produced wounds. The overriding desire of humankind is peace. And I am showing you that your current beliefs do not render you very peaceful. Peaceful is not something you do. Peaceful is something that you are. One does not say, I am doing peaceful. One says, I am being peaceful. And beingness is an expression of the soul and the mind. Again, please. Beingness is an expression of the soul and the mind. Doingness is an expression of the body. All experiences of the body arise out of experiences of the soul or the mind. You get to choose which. If you choose the mind as your mind feels, so the body does. If you choose your soul as the soul feels, so the body does. The soul always feels joy because the soul is joy. The soul always feels love because the soul is love. The soul always feels connected with the wonder of life because the soul is the wonder of life expressed. In order to feel this always, you have to be out of your mind. You have to get out of your head and into your heart. I thought you were going to say into your soul. The soul is the bridge between the mind and the soul. Let me do that again. The heart is the bridge between the mind and the soul. First, get out of your mind and into your heart space. From there, it is a quick jump into your soul. When you are in your heart space with another, that is when you can have a real soul talk. When you are in your heart space yourself, that is when you can experience connecting with your soul at a very deep level. That is when you experience communion with God. If you stay in your mind, you will be affected by the constructions of the mind. If the mind is dampened or weakened, the body will function in ways that reflect that. Lifted, strengthened, or renewed, the body will function that reflect that. If the mind is discouraged, diminished, restricted, frustrated, angry, wounded, or agitated, the body will demonstrate that. If the mind is excited, limited, exuberant, healed, peaceful, the body will behave in an entirely different way. But isn't that just the old-time religion, the way old-time religion makes people feel? Doesn't it talk about renewing of your mind? Doesn't it make people feel excited, enlarged, unlimited, exuberant, joyful, healed, and victorious? Isn't that precisely the appeal? Isn't that explicitly its promise? Indeed. Yet it is a promise your old religions have not been able to keep for humanity as a whole. It's that if religions can make individuals ecstatic, why can't it heal the world? Because organized religion, as you currently create it, is largely an exclusive experience. It is exclusive to the individual or the group experiencing it. You have not found a way to include everyone in the same experience, that is, society as a whole, because you have not found a way for everyone to agree on how the experience should be experienced. Indeed, you disagree on this question so dramatically that it has caused you to interrupt your own ecstasy to express your disapproval of another for not experiencing their ecstasy in the same way. You have argued with each other, battled with each other, and killed each other in your anger over this ecstasy. Why? Why have we done this? Why can't religions heal this? Organized religions, by their nature, exclude as many as they include. This would be non-problematic if religions were tolerant of those they exclude, yet far too often this is not the case. Religions you count on to teach tolerance have not learned how to practice it, and so just teach the opposite. I'm so sad about that. And I wouldn't have believed how serious the problem was and is to this very day if I hadn't come across evidence with my own eyes. The most recent, and to me a shocking evidence of exactly what is being discussed here, was contained in a newspaper article in the Arizona Republic written by Stephanie Simon and originally appearing in the Los Angeles Times on December 1st, 2001. I want to repeat that story here in full because I want all the world to know just how insidious and how serious this problem is. Most people to whom I've showed this story are aghast. Their mouths drop. Here's the article. So I think this is a good place to stop. It's 5 till, and this article is a little lengthy.
All right.
What do you think?
If it's okay, may I do the meditation real quick?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I've set my phone to the timer already, but if you'll forgive me for being so demanding, I'd like to. I've been listening to a lot of heart math programs, and what they say is exactly what Linda just read, which is that if we touch our hearts like that, just put our the palms of our hands on top of our heart, then we're touching the bridge between the soul and the body. And as Mary and Angela have said, the idea is to bridge the gap between truth and organized religion, between oneness and exclusion and excommunication. So if it's acceptable to everyone, may I request that we all put the palms of our hands on top of our hearts? Would that be okay?
That would be fine.
Okay, perfect. And I've set the timer for 96 seconds. So I'll just do the guided meditation and stop talking. Almighty God, we are one. The time has come for us to honestly believe that Angela, Mary, Nanette, Linda, Bima, and I, living in England, the United States, Sweden, and Canada, are able to transmit this absolute conviction that we are one, that there is enough, that you as God have no needs, and that we are one, and that only love and community and togetherness at the soul level is what will bring world peace. We're confident that uniting our hearts in absolute faith and devotion will make this happen, as it already has. And for 96 seconds, we're going to quietly demand your strengthening and fulfillment of this belief. Amen. And I forgot to express gratitude that you've chosen us to be the light. We are the light of the heart, shining in the darkness of being and changing all into the golden treasury of the mind of Christ. We are projecting our love out into the world to erase all errors and to break down all barriers. We are the power of infinite love amplifying itself until it is victorious, world without end. We demand and expect and our peace in human relationships of every kind and in the healing of any and every animal or person in need. Amen. Okay, time to go.
Thank you, Shabana. Thank you, Shabana. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shabana.
Thank you, everyone. Next Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. Does anybody have any conflicts that would prevent them
I don't.
I don't either, but I just
I
thought
don't.
Okay. All right. Well, I love you all.
Love you
And
too.
see you next week.
Sounds good.
Hey, thank
Everybody
you.
take care.
Yep. Thank you, Linda, for reading. And
Bye-bye.
thanks for the meditation.
Thank you, Nanette. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.